Hey y'all! I wanted to sit down and chat a little bit more about something that I mentioned in my video about my apprenticeship process, which is branding apprentices. So I got a lot of questions about this practice, how it started, if it's a real thing, all that stuff. So let's chat about it. A good baseline for this is understanding that hazing of apprentices was incredibly common all throughout the tattoo and piercing industry. And honestly, it's still relatively common today. It's not as bad as it used to be, but it definitely still happens, and I definitely still know many people with stories like this. So the mentality was in the 90s and early 2000s that you had to earn your place as a tattoo artist or a body piercer. And earning it meant that you were willing to suffer through whatever your mentor and coworkers at your studio decided to put you through to prove that you really wanted this more than anyone else. So earning it looked like any sort of hazing that you imagine when you think of hazing, like frat house hazing and stuff like that. Apprentices had to do all the menial tasks around the studio, all the cleaning, scrubbing tools, answering phones, and a lot of times they would like intentionally make messes or intentionally be unclean. Apprentices were often beholden to their mentor, so you had to pick your mentor's kids up from school and take care of them, watch your mentor's dog, go and pick up their dry cleaning, go and get their packages from the post office, whatever they asked you to do. But hazing also oftentimes turned more sinister. It was very common for apprentices to be forced to eat really gross foods or really gross concoctions. There was a trend going on for a while where apprentices were made to drink the rinse cups. Like when you get tattooed and the artist is rinsing off their needles in between ink colors and stuff like that, they got that big gross cup of water that's full of like ink and blood and all that stuff. They would make apprentices drink that. I know many people who were hit during their apprenticeship or made to do things like scrub all of the floors in the studio with a toothbrush or sweep the entire parking lot with a paintbrush. And these sound extreme and untrue, but I promise you this is what was really happening during apprenticeships at that time. And it's very unfortunate. It's very unfortunate, and it was the normal. And a lot of this mentality led to mentors feeling like they owned their apprentice, like their apprentice was their property and they could make their apprentice do whatever they wanted. There's been tons of posts online where like an apprentice has come in like a couple minutes late or accidentally missed something cleaning, and they've stenciled the word idiot or stupid across their face and made them wear it for the whole day. And if you were a woman and an apprentice, forget about it. Being made to clean and work in the shop in lingerie or in your underwear or in costumes and things like that. Being made to stand outside of the shop in swimsuits and advertise. Sexism definitely played a huge role in the hazing of apprentices. But the mentality of a mentor owning the apprentice is what led to branding apprentices. And this practice actually started in the 90s and early 2000s and was done as a literal brand with the shop key. So the key that you use to unlock the doors for the shop, they would heat that up and they would literally brand you with it. And a lot of times those brands were done behind the ear or on the back of the neck or on the ankle. But I actually know someone who had a shop key brand. And it was one of those things where if you didn't do it, you would lose the apprenticeship. And you knew that there were 15 or 20 or 30 other people who were hungry for that apprenticeship. And so they pitted anyone who was an apprenticeship hopeful, anyone who wanted an apprenticeship against each other by saying, well, you need to do this to prove that you want it. Okay, well, that person did this, so now you need to do this. And it was also very common practice for studios to have multiple apprentices at once, and then they could pit those apprentices against each other and see who would do the more extreme thing. Now, this practice evolved over time, and it quickly became commonplace for mentors to tattoo like the studio name or the studio logo or their name on their apprentices to show that they were their property. And it became a thing. Oh, if you want to apprentice at this shop, you have to get the shop's logo tattooed on you, or you have to get the shop name tattooed on you, or you have to get my name tattooed on you. And it was one of those things where there were a lot of people who wanted apprenticeships, and there weren't a lot of apprenticeships to give out. It's still the same way today. But if you weren't willing to get that tattoo, you could bet that there was someone else who would be willing to do that, and then you would lose your apprenticeship. And this was very, very normalized in the industry at the time. When I was first getting into the industry and first starting out, which was 10 years ago now, I remember anytime someone would ask online about getting an apprenticeship or getting into the industry, the rhetoric always was, you have to really want it, you have to earn it, you have to go further than everyone else, you can expect to work unpaid, you can expect to work long hours, you can expect to do all the worst tasks around the studio, and if you're not tough enough, if you're not willing to do all of those things, then you don't really want it, and someone else will be willing to do all of that stuff. So you have to put up with whatever. Now, no one was obviously very much publicly talking about the branding of apprentices, but the mentality was, if you were serious about an apprenticeship, you would commit to whatever your betters, your elders, your mentor, and your coworkers told you to do. And people would post like pictures of their apprentice with the word stupid stenciled across their head for being a couple minutes late. And the comments would be, they deserved it, they shouldn't have come in late, these apprentices don't know their place. So the whole mentality in the industry at the time really normalized this behavior and really made you feel, if you were an apprentice, like you had to do these things if you wanted to keep your apprenticeship and if you wanted to make it in the industry. So when I was apprenticing at my second studio, one day my mentor came downstairs, and she was a body piercer, but she still understood tattooing and stuff, and she was like, I want to do some tattoos. I feel like tattooing today. Lynn, come here, I'm going to tattoo you. And I was like, oh, what? And she was like, yeah, I'm going to tattoo my name on you. And she showed me, she had drawn up her full first name in huge script letters and was like, let's put it like on your thigh or something or somewhere. And I was like, I don't know if I want your name like 3 inches big on my leg. And she was like, well, it's tradition. You're my apprentice. Like, I like tattooed and pierced my other apprentices. Like, you don't love me as your mentor enough to get me tattooed on you. Like, you're not serious about this enough. And I was like, well, it's not that I'm not serious. I just, like, I have other tattoos planned. And she was like, come on. No, if you really want this, you're going to do this. You're going to get it. And I was like frozen in shock. And my coworker came downstairs, because it was a 2-story studio. My coworker came downstairs and was like, oh, that's not cool. We shouldn't do that. And she immediately got defensive and very angry. And I realized that there was like really no way out. Either I was going to get this tattoo or I was going to be fired. And so I turned to my coworker and I was like, I'm just going to do it because this is my second apprenticeship. I fought so hard to be here. It's been like 2 years in the industry for me already. Like, she hasn't really taught me how to pierce yet, but maybe if I do this, she will. Like, I have to do this. And my coworker was like, let me try something. And bless Zach's heart, he suggested that she tattoo her initials or her and my initials in a little heart much smaller than what she was saying. And he was like, oh, well, if this is between the two of you, it would be so cute to do like a heart with initials instead of your whole name, because that way it's like a cute little commemoration tattoo. And she wasn't super sold on it, but he really pushed it, and then another coworker came down and pushed that, and finally she relented and agreed and said, okay, instead of doing my entire name gigantic on your leg, I'll do this little tattoo. I can't believe I'm doing this, but here's a picture of that tattoo. I never show this to anyone. I typically wear clothes to hide it. I have not gotten it covered up yet, simply because I don't know what I want, and it is on my ankle. It's in a weird spot to cover up. But yeah, that's the tattoo. As you can see, it was not done by someone very experienced in tattooing. She was a body piercer. There's blowouts. It doesn't look great. But yeah, now I have this little stupid tattoo on my ankle, and people see it all the time, and they're always like, did you get that with like one of your exes? And I have to be like, no, I was forced to get it by my piercing mentor because I was her property, and if I really wanted my apprenticeship bad enough, I would do it, and I was pretty much gonna get fired if I didn't get it done. And I really wanted to be a body piercer, so now I have this tattoo on my ankle, and I was really uncomfortable at the time, and looking back, it is so unbelievably dehumanizing that that is what happened. And that I'm grateful to my coworkers for talking her into something less. Like, we couldn't even talk her out of it. She was so serious and was like, I'm gonna fire this girl if she does not get this tattoo. To the point where my coworkers were like, well, there's no saving you from getting tattooed, but maybe we can make it less bad. But I am grateful that she really wanted her whole name, like this big across the whole top of my thigh. So it could have been worse. It could have been worse. Now, if you decided you wanted to get the shop's logo on you or like something from your mentor because you have a positive, healthy relationship and you'd like to commemorate it, that's one thing. I have a friend who has the names of all of his bosses at studios he works at. He has them sign his butt cheek, and then if he leaves or moves on or starts working in another studio, he has them cross it out, and he does it willingly and consensually, and it's like a funny haha thing, and he thinks it's super cool and fun, and that's awesome. That's great. It's hilarious. I was there for one of the times that he got the tattoo crossed out because he was moving across the country with his then fiance. Super funny. Great, love it. Non-consensually, like being told you have to get a tattoo or a piercing as part of your apprenticeship, not okay. You should never be made to do anything that you're uncomfortable with or that doesn't feel okay or right. Obviously, like tasks that are clearly inappropriate for you to do, that are clearly outside of your job description, anything like that. As an apprentice, you still deserve respect. It is still a job. You should still be paid. You should still be given reasonable hours. You should still be treated like any other employee there would be treated. And if y'all like this and wanted to hear more very wild stories from my multiple apprenticeships, let me know in the comments, because we could take a walk down memory lane. I experienced some things when I was apprenticing, and if y'all want me to talk about it, I would love to. And if you like this video and if you like the content I've been putting out so far, please hit like and subscribe, and I look forward to hanging out with y'all soon. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.